You ever pick up a hitchhiker in the middle of a thunderstorm? Don't. Not unless you're ready to question everything you know about yourself and maybe even your own name. That night on the I-40 in Arizona, the rain was coming down like the sky was trying to drown the desert. Lightning flashed every few seconds, and each bolt lit up the empty road like a crime scene photo. My wipers were losing the battle, smearing water across the windshield like a blindfold. I should have pulled over, but I kept driving. I was tired, behind schedule, and just wanted to reach the next truck stop. It was around 2:13 a.m. when I saw him, just a silhouette at first, standing on the shoulder. One arm up, thumb out, soaked head to toe. At first I thought it was a mirage or a reflection in the wet glass, but when I got closer, I could see him clearly. Mid-30s maybe, short hair, clothes clinging to him from the rain. I slowed down. Something in his posture wasn't right, like he was desperate, not just cold or stranded. Against my better judgment, I stopped. He climbed in without saying a word, and I felt a chill blow through the cab. "Where you headed?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He looked straight ahead, didn't even glance at me, then said, "Lamora, 100 miles east." I'd never heard of the place, but I didn't ask questions, just nodded and started driving. The silence stretched out, thick and uncomfortable. I could hear the hiss of the tires against the wet asphalt, the rhythmic creak of the trailer. The air inside the cab felt wrong, like it had gone heavy all of a sudden, like I was hauling more than freight and a stranger. After a few miles, he finally spoke again. "You always stop at that diner off exit 233? I blinked. That place was a hole in the wall I hadn't been to in over a week. I didn't remember telling him about it. "Sometimes," I replied. He nodded like he already knew. "Bacon's always burned, but you eat it anyway. Force of habit." My hands tightened on the wheel, my stomach turned. I didn't laugh. I didn't respond. I just kept driving. Then he leaned back in the seat, eyes closed, as if nothing weird had been said. I tried to focus on the road, but my mind kept replaying his words. The bacon, the exit. That wasn't stuff he could have guessed. My logbook's digital. My stops aren't public. Hell, even my dispatcher doesn't know about that diner. It's a personal thing. The radio crackled with static, breaking the silence for a moment. I reached over and turned the knob, but it was just dead air. That's when I started noticing the details. The scent of damp clothes mixed with something else. Something metallic, like rust or blood. The way the headlights behind us had been following for a while, but never seemed to catch up. And the fact that every time I glanced at him in the corner of my eye, his reflection wasn't in the passenger side mirror. I told myself it was the rain, the angle, the stress. But deep down, I knew something was off. We passed a sign that read 75 miles to Lamora, and I tried to break the silence. "What takes you there?" I asked. His lips curled into a smile that didn't match his eyes. "You'll see." That was it. No explanation, no story, just those two words. Their flash of lightning lit up the cab again, and I swear for half a second, I saw someone else sitting in his place. Someone older, paler, wearing my old army jacket. I blinked and he was back to normal. The road started feeling longer than it should have, like it was stretching out. I kept checking the clock and the odometer, but the numbers didn't make sense. The miles weren't adding up. My fuel gauge wasn't moving, and the voice in my head kept whispering, "Don't look at him, just drive." So I did. Hands tight on the wheel, back straight, eyes locked on the yellow lines vanishing under the truck. Then he said something that froze my blood. "You really should have taken that left back at Junction Hill, just like you did last Tuesday. Would have been safer." My throat closed up. That was the exact detour I took after a flat tire last Tuesday. I hadn't told anyone, not even on the CB. I didn't even mark it in my route log. My breathing got shallow. I didn't respond. I couldn't. I just focused on the sound of the rain, trying to calm my heart, but it was pounding like a war drum in my chest. As we neared a dark off-ramp, he shifted in his seat and finally turned to me. His eyes met mine in the mirror, cold, unblinking, knowing. Then he smiled again and said, "Careful on that next curve, Jim." My grip on the wheel loosened for a second. Jim? That's not my name. I've never been called Jim in my life. I didn't correct him. I didn't say a word. I just watched as he opened the door and stepped out, right into the rain without looking back. I watched him disappear into the darkness, like he was part of the rain itself. No lights around, no buildings, not even a goddamn tree. Just black asphalt, mud, and the sound of water pounding the truck. He didn't say goodbye. Didn't even slam the door, just walked off the exit and vanished behind the mist. I sat there in silence, engine idling, wondering if I should call someone, or maybe anyone. But who do you call when a stranger knows the name of your ex-wife and a shortcut you never mentioned? I figured I needed to shake it off. Maybe I was just tired. Exhaustion does things to your mind, especially on long hauls. I adjusted my seat, rubbed my eyes, and decided to get back on the highway. But as soon as I merged, I got this weird feeling in my gut, like the road didn't feel right. Not dangerous, just unfamiliar. Even though it was the same highway I'd driven 100 times, the signs looked different, older, like they hadn't been updated in decades. 1 mile marker read 333. I could have sworn I passed that same one 10 minutes ago. I chalked it up to my nerves until I passed it again. Same dents, same rust, same crow sitting on top of it, staring right at me. That was the moment my skin started to crawl. The radio popped back on out of nowhere, even though I had turned the dial all the way down. Static again, but there was something under it this time, like a voice, whispering, too soft to catch, but it was definitely there. I leaned in, trying to make out the words. It sounded like someone calling for help, over and over. "Can you hear me?" Then a long pause. "Jim?" My hands went cold. I turned off the radio completely, yanked the knob hard enough I almost broke it. The voice stopped, but now I couldn't unhear it. It was like it had wormed its way inside my head. I looked over at the passenger seat just in case, still wet, still dented where he had been sitting. I drove in silence for what felt like an hour. No exits, no other vehicles, just me and the rain, and that feeling that something was wrong. My headlights caught movement on the side of the road, a figure standing still in the storm. I slowed down, same build, same soaked clothes, same dead stare. He didn't even try to hitch a ride this time, just watched me pass with this crooked smile. I floored it. I didn't care if I missed a curve, I just needed to get away from whatever the hell that was. The GPS started glitching next. The screen went black, then flickered back on, showing nothing but a single word. Limora. No distance, no map, just the name pulsing like a heartbeat. I tried to reset it, but the button didn't respond. I pulled over, reached back to my bag for my paper atlas, something I hadn't used in years, and when I looked up, the road in front of me was gone. Replaced by fog, thick, white, unnatural. I couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. I thought about turning around. Hell, I even tried. Put the truck in reverse, backed up about 20 yards. But when I turned forward again, the same curve was in front of me. Identical. I even noticed a crushed soda can on the shoulder. Same dent, same position. I was stuck, not physically, but time-wise, space-wise, like the road was folding in on itself, like it didn't want me to leave. I felt the panic bubbling up, but I couldn't let it show. Not yet. I pressed forward, hoping I'd break through it, hoping the fog would lift. And then, out of nowhere, the CB radio crackled to life, on its own. This time it was crystal clear, no static, just a voice deep and slow like it was underwater. "You missed your turn, Jim." Again, I nearly jumped out of my seat. My name isn't Jim. It never was. I yelled into the mic, "Who the hell are you?" But no one answered. Just a click, then silence. My heart was racing. My breath fogged up the glass. I started talking to myself, trying to keep calm, telling myself this was stress, maybe a breakdown. I thought about calling dispatch, but my phone had no signal. Of course it didn't. Then I noticed something else, the fuel gauge. It hadn't moved since I picked him up, still at a quarter tank. I should have been running on fumes by now. I tapped the glass. Nothing. The needle just stayed there, like the truck wasn't consuming anything, like time itself had stopped moving forward. And that's when I saw it. Up ahead, in the fog, a green road sign, one of those old reflective ones with chipped paint. I slowed down to read it. It said, "Welcome to Limora, population unknown." I had never felt fear like that in my life. Not in the army, not in any accident I'd seen on the road. This wasn't just wrong, it was unnatural. I didn't remember turning off the I-40. I didn't remember arriving, but somehow I was already there. I didn't remember making a turn, didn't recall slowing down or taking any exit, yet there I was, staring at a warped sign welcoming me to a place I'd never heard of until that night, Limora, population unknown. The fog had thickened, curling around the front of the truck like fingers. There were no streetlights, no houses, no sounds, just the hum of the engine and my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I felt like I had crossed into somewhere I wasn't meant to be. My hands trembled on the wheel. I told myself I was dreaming. I even slapped my face to check, but I didn't wake up. I kept driving slowly, following the single lane of cracked pavement that wound deeper into the mist. Every few minutes I'd see things, shapes at the edge of my headlights, too fast to make out. One looked like a child, another looked like me, staring back through the fog, lips moving but no sound coming out. My fingers went numb. I turned on the heater, but the vents blew nothing but cold air. Then the truck shook. A bump. Something passed under the tires. I looked in the mirrors. Nothing behind me. Just darkness. Then I saw the town, or what used to be a town. Collapsed roofs, rusted cars, stores with broken windows, signs swinging in the wind, even though the air was dead still. It was like time had stopped here decades ago. I rolled to a halt in front of a diner, the exact diner from exit 233. Same red neon sign buzzing weakly above the door, same crack in the window. But that wasn't possible. That diner was 90 miles behind me. I hadn't turned around. I hadn't looped back. I stepped out of the cab, boots splashing in shallow puddles, and felt the ground vibrating beneath my feet. Inside it was empty, cold, smelled of mildew and burnt grease. The jukebox in the corner started playing on its own, some old country tune I hadn't heard since I was a kid. I walked past the booths, every one of them filled with moldy plates of half-eaten food. Then I saw it, a coffee mug sitting on the counter, still steaming. Next to it, a folded napkin with my name on it, except it said, Jim. I backed away slowly, breath stuck in my throat, when the bell above the door jingled behind me. I turned, heart pounding, and saw him, the hitchhiker, standing in the doorway, drenched again, but his clothes were different, not soaked, tattered, like they'd been rotting on him for years. He stepped forward slowly, leaving no footprints in the puddles. I tried to speak, but my mouth was dry. He raised one hand and pointed at me. "You shouldn't be here, Jim," he said. His voice sounded deeper now, like multiple voices layered together. I stumbled backward into the counter, knocking the mug to the floor. It shattered, but made no sound. I ran, out the door, into the fog, toward the truck, but the lot was empty. The truck was gone. I spun in circles, yelling, calling out for help, but my voice just echoed like I was yelling inside a cave. The buildings around me began to flicker, like lights blinking in and out. Then, from every direction, I heard it, the CB radio. Multiple radios, overlapping each other, all whispering the same thing. He never left. I covered my ears, but the voices were inside my skull, repeating it, chanting it. He never left. He never left. I dropped to my knees. I don't know how long I stayed there. Minutes? Hours? Eventually the sound faded. The fog thinned. I looked up, and there was my truck, parked exactly where I'd left it. Lights on, engine idling, like nothing had happened. I climbed in, hands shaking so bad I could barely turn the key. The gauges were back to normal. Fuel slightly below a quarter. GPS working again. No sign of Lamora on the map. Just the I-40, like I had never left. I drove for hours, refusing to stop. Eyes wide, radio off. When I finally reached a way station, I pulled over and forced myself to speak to another human being. The officer there looked at me weird when I asked about Lamora, said no such place existed in Arizona, said maybe I meant Lamora in Mexico. I showed him my dash cam footage, but that night, gone. The files had been wiped, just static, like it had never recorded at all. I didn't sleep for 3 days after that, didn't speak to anyone. And the worst part, it doesn't feel over. Sometimes when I'm driving late at night, the GPS glitches and flashes that name again, Lamora. Sometimes the CB crackles to life and says, "Careful, Jim." I never answer. I just keep driving. But every now and then, I look in the mirror and I swear I see him sitting in the passenger seat, smiling. It's been 3 months since that night. 3 months since I picked up a man in the rain who knew things no stranger should know. I told myself it was a hallucination, sleep deprivation, maybe stress. But there's a part of me that never bought that, because some things haven't gone back to normal. My dashcam still skips footage whenever I drive through Arizona, and the last time I tried to take exit 233 it wasn't there, just desert and silence like the road erased itself. I got a new truck, sold the old rig to a scrapyard in Flagstaff, and never looked back. New GPS, new CB radio, everything factory reset, clean. But it doesn't matter. Sometimes the static still comes through, and always the same voice, low and distorted. "Careful, Jim." The first time I heard it on the new radio, I almost veered off the road. Now I just turn the volume down and pretend it isn't there. But deep down I know it's not in the hardware, it's in me. I tried to tell my ex-wife about it. We hadn't spoken in over a year, but I thought she'd want to know. When I mentioned the name Lamora, she went quiet. Then she whispered something I'll never forget. That's what your dad used to call his nightmares. Said it was a town full of dead roads. I never knew my father had nightmares. He died behind the wheel when I was 15. His rig was found empty, engine running, logbook torn to pieces. No skid marks, no witnesses, just gone. And now I wonder, did he end up there too? I started digging. Forums, trucking boards, even old CB chatter archives. Lamora isn't listed anywhere. Not on maps, not in county records, nothing. But if you know where to look, there are whispers. Posts deleted minutes after going live. A voice recording here and there. Always anonymous. Always afraid. One guy mentioned a diner off a non-existent exit. Another described a passenger who vanished into fog. A few said they escaped. Most never posted again. I don't sleep well anymore. When I close my eyes, I dream of that road. Twisting, endless, lined with signs that make no sense. Turn back. Dead end. Jim, come home. Sometimes I wake up in my truck parked on the shoulder, engine cold with no memory of stopping. Sometimes I dream I never left Lamora at all. That I'm still there. That this version of me, the one telling you this story, is just a fragment trying to warn others. I keep telling myself it wasn't real, that I imagined it, but too many things still don't add up. Like the delivery log from that night. It says, I never made it past mile marker 333. Dispatch said I radioed in, said everything was fine, but I don't remember making that call. And my voice, it's not the one on the recording, it's close, but off, like someone trying to sound like me and getting it almost right. Last week, a young driver flagged me down at a rest stop outside Gallup, said he'd heard my voice on Channel 19, warning him not to pick up a hitchhiker on the I-40. Problem is, I haven't used that channel in months, and I was nowhere near Gallup. He swore it was me. Same name, same call sign, same voice. I didn't argue, just nodded and wished him luck, but as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was me, or a version of me, still out there on that loop. Now I drive different routes. Avoid Arizona, avoid the I-40 entirely, but I know it's only a matter of time. Lamora isn't a place, it's a pull, a crack in the road that opens when you least expect it. Some nights, I feel it calling again, when the fog gets too thick, when the rain hits just right, when the highway goes quiet. I hear it whispering in the distance, come back, Jim, we're not finished yet. And if you ever find yourself on the I-40 during a storm, and you see someone on the shoulder thumbing a ride, don't stop. No matter how desperate they look, no matter what they say, just drive, trust me, because once you let them in, they never really leave. I didn't want to tell this part. I thought maybe if I left it out, it wouldn't be real. Like ignoring it would make it fade. But the truth is, I think that night was only the beginning. Lamora didn't just haunt me, it followed me. It's quieter now, more subtle, but it's still here. I see it in my mirrors sometimes. That same curve in the road, even when I'm on a straightaway. That same hitchhiker shape in the corner of my vision, just standing there, waiting. A week ago, I started hearing a second voice on the CB, not the hitchhiker's. This one sounds like me. Not just similar, identical. Same cadence. Same words I never remember saying. One night it told a story over the air. My story, almost word for word. As if someone had recorded my thoughts and was broadcasting them back at me. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in the dark, engine off, listening to myself speak from somewhere I couldn't trace. And then there are the dreams, worse than ever now. I wake up behind the wheel with my hands frozen to it, headlights off, engine cold. Always on a different road, but always empty. Sometimes the dash reads Lamora even when I'm states away. The other night I woke up parked outside that same diner. I know it's impossible. I burned that location from my GPS, but there it was. Same flickering neon, same coffee cup waiting inside, same name on the napkin, Jim. I've started keeping a journal, not for therapy, not for closure, just so I can prove to myself I'm still real. I write down every stop, every mile, every strange encounter, because the line between dream and memory is starting to blur. My handwriting changes sometimes, slants different, words I don't remember using. One page even had a message I didn't write. You're almost ready. I don't know what that means, and I don't want to find out. I tried quitting, left the truck parked, bought a bus ticket back east, didn't make it past the state line. Somewhere near Flagstaff, the driver pulled over and said, "This is where you get off, Jim." Everyone else on the bus looked at me like they'd heard it too, but when I asked, they said the driver never spoke. I walked off into the night, and guess what I saw down the hill? That same goddamn green sign. Welcome to Lamora. It's inescapable, like a scar beneath the asphalt. Like the highway itself remembers me. My doctor says it's trauma, night terrors, neurological stress. But the thing is, I've never told her the name Lamora. Last week she handed me a prescription, and it was filled under Jim Walters. That's not my name. Never was. But I didn't say a word. I just smiled, signed it, and walked out like everything was fine. I've stopped trusting reflections. Mirrors, windows, puddles, they show things that aren't there. Once I glanced at my rear view and saw two of me in the cab. One driving, one watching. I blinked, and it was gone. But it's happening more. At gas stations, I'll see people staring like they recognize me, but not in a good way. Like I'm someone they were warned about. Sometimes they cross themselves, sometimes they run. The weirdest part? I'm starting to forget what my real name sounds like. When I hear Jim, I don't flinch anymore. It feels right even though I know it's wrong. Like Lamora is reshaping me one piece at a time. I don't know how long I have before I'm fully replaced, or if that's even what's happening. Maybe this is just what the road does. Takes and takes, until there's nothing left but a voice in the static. A story passed from one lost trucker to the next. So if you're hearing this, if someone's telling you my story, if my voice is on your CB at night, don't respond. Don't follow the signs. Don't stop when the rain gets too heavy and the air gets too cold. And if someone calls you Jim, keep driving.